welcome back, our gardening friends, to Gardening with Tom and Gayle. We've been talking about a lot of different aspects, but mostly about the bugs that seem to be more interested in our garden than sometimes even we are. And they aren't just involved with the garden. They will literally be eating your flowers, attracted to your trees and shrubs. So it's something that we really kind of emphasize, that your investment in your beauty of your landscape is like your puppy or your family. You need to be worried about feeding it, watering it, and attention. And that attention is just as critical as the rest of it. You sometimes can really get a lot of enjoyment by going out there and just wandering around and looking at things. But otherwise, you also have the opportunity to go, oh, my goodness, look, what's eating this? And so it's a good way to intervene before it gets to be too hideous, or the fact you actually lose it. We've had a lot of problems this spring with the entire vegetable products just being eaten entirely.
Well, we were talking about the hummingbirds, how pretty they are at the beginning. I noticed our neighbor has his pie tins out on his cherry tree now.
Oh, yes.
And it's a reasonably good way to try to spook the birds away.
But the problem is that whatever you use has to be quite erratic and moving, and with the wind and the breezes certainly help doing that. And, of course, a lot of people use the scare tape. We've also talked about the fact that one of the best uses of old CDs, old music that we never listened to, they have a reflective surface too and can be attached to the tree, but the higher they are attached and the more wind can be available, the easier it is to keep these little buggers out of your tree so you get a chance to enjoy the cherries instead of them. But we also need to emphasize that if you haven't been spraying your trees, please, whether it's cherries or apples, it's really important to take responsibility of keeping the codling moth and the fruit fly on the cherry under control, because this can be a serious problem for all of our literally big orchard friends, because this is just another source of more bugs that they have to deal with. So be responsible.
Well, it's always kind of attractive to think about having apples out in your backyard. It comes along with almost a weekly chore of spraying from the time, from about Mother's Day until close to harvest. So for an apple that doesn't get ready until late summer, early fall, you've just bought yourself some major responsibility there. So, even if you're totally good and then you go off for vacation for a couple weeks, you can just open that little window of opportunity for those moths to get in there and lay eggs, and you're still going to have some worms.
Several cases of nickel to quarter size apples being brought in that looked kind of funny, and sure enough, they had already been attacked by the codling moth. So we know that they're definitely out there and definitely active. So it's really important to stay on top of it.
Well, we do have some lures, too, that can kind of help you determine.
It's really a good way if these lures come in sets, and so you can put one lure on one side of the tree and the other on the other side of the tree, or at the one edge of, if you have several trees, at one edge of the group and the other edge of the group. But by just peering into it, you can get a good assessment of just how much activity is going on. And because it's a sticky trap, it also tends to get them involved. So it's a good way to really kind of see what's happening out there in your own fruit trees. So these lures, these sticky traps, really do the work too. Well, let's see. I know.
We wanted to talk about tomatoes.
Yep. Tomatoes, we talked briefly about them last week, and the fact that people are looking forward to the problems of setting, and we do have tomato set. The blossom set works as good on tomatoes as it does on peppers and even zucchini. But most important, we have calcium. We didn't anticipate the number of people. My crystal ball didn't work very well at all. People that were coming in, great numbers, to buy the calcium, because this resolves the problem of the browning that happens on the blossom end of many fruit, including tomatoes and peppers, even on cucumbers. And by spraying the plant just once every 2 weeks, just twice a month, with spray of calcium, you completely eliminate this problem. And so it's just really an easy thing to control, but it's really very aggravating to put in all the effort only to find this beautiful tomato has this ugly, hideous brown spot at the bottom of the tomato. So it can be, again, easily corrected, and calcium spray is the stuff to use. And once it's mixed up, you can just leave it in a spritzer container, put it on the shelf, and then go out there and mark the calendar so you know that it's time to go out there and do it again. But it's an easy way to resolve it. Well, again, we also have question after question after question about Bermuda grass. And again, a fellow came in who remember reading an article about this new preparation that was now out. And I indeed was able to follow through on this. And again, the material is $380 for a pint of the spray, and you don't use very much, but it very clearly states on there that it does not kill, it helps control with monthly spraying. Well, you multiply $380 for a pint, and you're having to use it every month just to keep the bad grass from taking over the good grass, and it seems like a real battle. Gayle and I sort of listened to a lot of results from various customers, and we really find that dabbing the Bermuda grass with Roundup is far more expedient. But if you have a problem, stop by the flower farm and we'll show you how to do it, and it's an easy thing to take care of. Well, interesting question about lantana. Lantana is a gorgeous, gorgeous flower that really works well in the sunshine and has really been dramatically improved as an ornamental for real hot, sunny locations. It's an introduction from the Southland, but it really is a great adjunct to so many things we enjoy in our garden. Yeah,
they really are a pretty plant and very tolerant of the heat. This question was about its toxicity, wasn't it?
That's right. They were worried because it was new. They were worried that it was poisonous, or they had heard from a neighbor that it was poisonous. And to our knowledge, I know that the birds down in Florida used to really look forward to chewing up all the seeds because they would leave all the Mother Nature's way of distributing it.
Well, but if I had little kids around, I would not want those berries to develop.
Well, that's possible too.
They do develop a little berry, and it's easy enough to clip that off. You want to do it anyway because if it goes into seed production mode, it's out of flower business, so you want to keep any berries that might be forming, keep them clipped off. I have heard of some people who are sensitive to it, it'll make them itch.
That's right.
It's got little hairs on it, too.
I think that might be a lot of the source of a lot of the confusion is that there are sensitivity that a lot of people have to various type of plants. We know that the vast majority of us can eat strawberries day in and day out, and we really love them, but there's a portion of the population that literally have sensitivity to it. And so should we ban strawberries because 1% of the population happens to be sensitive? No, it's just the fact that use your experience. And we have a lot of cases where some people are sensitive to the fuzz on certain plants. Other people are sensitive to the sap out of certain plants. Doesn't mean everybody, and so if it's really serious, we like to pass it along. But it's an individual basis, and that could be the case where this is deemed to be poisonous because somebody had an allergic response to it, but it may probably is not that broad spread. Well, Gayle, we need to take another break, and we'll be back. But this time I think we ought to talk about the shade and how to create so much beautiful shade in the heat of the summer.